Alright, guys, I'm a bit late. Sorry, I was on a walk getting some sunlight to my eyes. So let's go take a look. I'll be right back. But I'm listening. But I appreciate you guys joining. Okay, one sec, guys. Oh, fucking hell, I signed that door. Blame that on the wind. What's up, everyone? Yeah, I mean, I don't like the new widgets very much. But, fuck it. Why is everyone crying about AI? Oh, okay. That's why they're saying AI. Damn, crazy. Fire, fire, fire. We've been waiting for an MCP for this. Pretty sick. Wait, why did I just fucking click off of it? What's up, Flavor? How you doing? Sorry, I didn't see the chat straight away. I also think I'm a bit of a silly goose. I forgot to turn on audio.
Epic Motors, a 1950s gas station. But in professional situations where you have to hit story points, match exact continuity, and deliver what your creative director wants, you would typically communicate visually through sketches and pre-riv. Unreal is great for that. So, to get started in Unreal, I scouted the derelict corridor scene from Quixel that's available on Fab, which I quickly customized to look like the gas station layout I needed. I worked in detail lighting mode since I was just using this for blocking to this stage. I dropped in some of the appropriate assets from that map: shelving, a propane tank, a cabinet, and also made proxy shapes for the assets that I didn't have: a long counter, more shelving, a cash register, and an ice chest. Then I backed up and framed my camera view and animated a boom down and a push in that I'd later use for my shot. But before I tackled the full video creation, I had to create a single style frame, the visual reference of my scene. To do that, I used the model to combine a depth pass plus the prompt novel I'd written before. The depth conditions the models to understand the layout and the framing. Here's how that works using our new tools in Unreal. I asked Claude Code, connected by our MCP plugin, to use Unreal's movie render graph to create a 4K image, plus all the rest. Asking for an Unreal render to create the image was a signal to Claude Code that I wanted to give my model my depth pass.
I want to see if
use the creative look described in my prompt.
It has the MCP on UEFN or not.
I inspected the graph that it made for the task. Image models are hungry for helpful data and conditioning, and so I prepared a process that pulls valuable visual data from the Unreal scene and passes it to the image model, in this case, Google's Nano Banana Pro. Now, let's take a look at this image more closely. You can see that it did a great job matching the visual detail I asked for, and most importantly, it didn't place things randomly. It matched the composition of my Unreal viewport exactly. From there, I could start to iterate. For example, I wanted another tire on the floor, but I didn't have that particular asset because it was an image model creation. Using the new image segmentation tools in the editor to mask the tire, I selected both the mask and the image, and with a predefined workflow, asked Claude Code to extract it, repair it, and mesh it using Trippo 3.1.
You see a lot of people are hating on this in the comments.
Now, of course, this is not a real-time process. So after several minutes, I got my textured tire mesh. I saved it to the
Unity already has all of this.
Pulled in the tire and positioned it.
They have to do it in order to
Finally, I asked Claude Code
keep
to
up
add the
competition.
tire to the image. Let's take a look at that result. So if we compare my UE passes with the tire in it, you can see that it put the new tire where I asked it to, and it made it look like a variation of the generated tire, not an exact duplicate. All right, now let's add something totally new to the scene by going back to the viewport for another round in 3D. I went browsing on Fab and found one of our junkyard car parts for Megascans. I picked the specific fender piece that I wanted that had a 1950s look modeled into it to leave less to the image model's imagination. I asked Claude Code to add it to my image and make it look like it had been newly repainted. And after another image processing step in Nano Banana, that was done. Okay, now that
I think
I've
it's
reduced my
only in
style frame,
Unreal Engine,
I was
not
ready
in
to go back to our
Fortnite.
new Unreal tools to generate a video of our scene. And here's my shot camera move again. If you recall, this is the move that I created at the beginning. Over on the right, I ran a sequence render node that represents the depth over the entire range. I'm going to use the same depth restyling process with the video that I did on the still image. I supply the style frame I just generated to the video model as a first frame reference, and you can see that I added a cat, just hoping for a bit of life. And then I set my video generation node to use Seedance 2.0, set the resolution, added audio, and then I was off. Once that process had run for several minutes, I had a video that looked like this. So clearly, this is showing you that I can control the camera, but nobody controls
the shit, cat.
All right, let's leave the garage and the cat and move on to an apartment. This is a different workflow that we've been building in parallel for more rapid concepting with diffusion and your viewports side by side. What you're seeing here in this video is the UE viewport on the left that was streaming to a local.
Enjoy the stream. I have to grind. Yeah, no, of course. Enjoy Flower. Thanks for dropping by.
Temporally coherent. It was stamping a new image on every frame and only running a few frames a second, which is why it seems slower over there on the right. But let me show you how intuitive it is to use. I prompted for sunset lighting at first, and then decided to see what it would look like if there had just been a fire in this apartment. And then I tried something more extreme, like being underwater at the bottom of a murky pond. The real benefit you get here is being able to go back to the UE viewport, interact with the assets, and see them repositioned through this new diffusion lens. Not only that, but you can try more illustrated looks, like a charcoal drawing or even a watercolor painting. As models get more capable and hardware improves, it's not hard to project this workflow forward to a time.
We're saying about hardware improvement. We don't need more hardware improvements.
Okay, let's look at some other examples of Unreal Engine.
I mean, they're not really happening anyway. Recently, it's basically the same shit using AI.
From our friends at Kitbash 3D, and some of which are our own internal assets, including the city sample. Starting from quality source assets leaves less room for interpretation by the models. We think these new UE tools are a force multiplier that will give artists more opportunities for creative iteration on their work alongside the real-time animation, modeling, texturing, and virtual production tools that you've come to count on.
Yeah, I don't know that we have it, to be honest.
So this is where we're headed. The MCP server that's enabling all this is experimental, and what you're seeing here for image and video creation.
I guess we'll get it eventually, though.
Next year. We're on this journey together, and we're aware that for these models to be truly useful, we need to focus on not just lowering technical complexity, but also giving you full creative control over what you're making.
Everyone's saying Simpsons UEFN. For me, I'm more interested in Avatar.
Awesome.
They announced Avatar last year, but
so now you've seen more
it's still not out yet.
Features, workflow improvements.
I'll keep it on big mode for the rest of the stream.
Content. So let's
Close
talk
the
about
chat.
distribution. 2025 was a year of growth for the Epic Game Store, and we're off to a great start in 2026. In our year in review, we reported that December monthly active users reached 78 million, an all-time record for the Epic
Congrats,
Game Store.
guys. Let's go.
Players spent $1.16 billion in the
I'm
store
Lav, by the way.
across third-party and first-party titles. That's up 6% year over year.
Good, good.
If you just look at third-party titles, players spent $400 million.
Thanks,
That's up
buddy.
57% year over year.
I'm
We
watching
now
the
have
new
over
Unreal
6,000
stream.
games in the
They're
catalog
live.
from over 3,000 partners.
I've got you tea. I'll put that one.
We offer multiple
this in the
ways
fridge as
for
well,
you to help your
please.
business grow.
Okay, I'm gonna
Maybe
start
this in
doing
the
June of
freezer?
2025,
Just
we
could-
announced that
I
developers
I got a
will keep
coffee.
100%
I just made it.
of the first $1 million of net
Coffee's
revenue
hot, so
per
that can
product
cool down,
per
you can
year,
drink that.
with an industry-leading 8812 rev share kicking in after that million.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Epic First Run, which gives developers the opportunity to keep 100% of net revenue for the first 6 months before launching on other stores. And we also have Launch Everywhere with Epic, which gives UE developers a reduced engine royalty rate of 3.5%, down from 5%, when they sim ship their title on the Epic Game Store. Finally, we continue to push on Epic Rewards.
I think that Epic are
granting
really
5%
trying their
back
hardest to
players on
compete with
all
Steam,
third-party
but
content purchases that are processed
everyone
on
still
Epic.
just prefers Steam.
Now, last year, we had a 20% rewards boost through the back half of the year, and we're seeing players continue to spend at heightened levels using the rewards that they accumulated and earned during the promotional period. In fact, spending through the first 4 months of the year on third-party games is up over 40% year over year. So beyond these great incentive programs, we're really working to connect the Epic Game Store more closely with the Fortnite ecosystem. And that'll give developers access to an even larger player base. Take our collab with Hoyoverse as an example. When players purchased eligible items in Honkai Star Rail on the Epic Game Store, they were granted a Stellaron Hunter Blade outfit that could be used across the entire Fortnite ecosystem, in Battle Royale or in thousands of UEFN games. So some players discovered Honkai Star Rail for the first time in Fortnite. Then they went on to spend on the game in the Epic Game Store, and their spend unlocked a new outfit that they brought back into Fortnite. It's a virtuous circle for both developers and players. We've got over
Smart.
30
Makes
million,
sense.
sorry, not 30 million.
That's going to help
30
Fortnite
similar
grow.
collabs planned for 2026, with more
Phantom
coming
Blade,
in 2027.
Control, Vampire, Sonic. We're going to have Sonic
We're delivering
skins?
great incentives for both
What the
developers and for
hell?
players, but we need to make
I got
the
brain
store
freeze.
experience
Fuck.
better. And over the last several months, the team's been hard at work rebuilding the launcher.
Oh.
Our goal here is to dramatically improve performance with reduced cold
Ooh,
start
this
times
new UI looks
and
sick.
much faster browsing. We've also been re-architecting the back end of the store, which is going to allow us to ship new player-facing features faster and more frequently. We'll be improving search and discovery, adding a lot of long-awaited community features, and doubling down on delivering an overall better player experience. We are committed to growing the Epic Games Store, and we're not relenting in our mission to give developers access to a high-value global player base with the most favorable terms in the industry. You can learn more about our plans for the Epic Games Store in this session tomorrow.
I think people
And now
hate
that
too
we've
much
covered
on
a bit of
Epic.
what's happening
They're
in our
like actually
ecosystem,
very good
let's hear
for
from some of the
creators.
teams putting it all to work. First, 20 years after Emergence Day, the Coalition is finally telling the story they've always wanted to tell. Darker, more alive, and running at 60 frames per second with hundreds of shadow casting lights. Then, Riot Games is doing something most studios would never attempt. Rebuilding a live PC and mobile game with 300 million players on a new engine, all while keeping the live service running. And finally, the small team at Neon Giant set out to build the
So
densest,
they're remaking
most
League?
lived-in city they could have ever imagined. A city where every frame tells a story, and every choice you make becomes a part of that story. 3 games, 3 very different worlds, 1 engine. Up first, please welcome Kate Rayner from the
I mean, I
Coalition.
know they already remade Valorant in Unreal Engine, but I didn't know they was remaking League as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Rayner. It's great to be able to join you today. Gears of War will
What's up,
celebrate
Chris?
its 20th
I'm doing good. How you
anniversary
doing,
this
man?
year, and Unreal Engine has been the foundation of every game since the series first debuted in 2006.
Today's a more chill stream, to be
For
honest.
Gears of War E-Day, we
I don't
made the
plan to drink
decision
that much
invest in Unreal
caffeine.
Engine 5 and start with a blank hard drive and rebuild
this looks
everything
sick.
from scratch to achieve the believability of a world in chaos. Emergence Day is the darkest day in our universe.
Jeez.
The day the monstrous locust horde emerged from the ground to lay
Dun,
waste
dun,
to
dun.
humanity. And to truly
He looks
feel
like
the emotional
the
impact of that
Trend
loss,
Twins that guy
we
did.
needed to return to a dark and gritty visual style. Light and shadow do more than just set a tone, and with Unreal Engine 5, we've pushed our signature Gears style to the next level. So, let's show you a taste of what we've built.
So I've only played 1 Gears of War, and it was only for a couple minutes. But yeah,
Welcome
he
to
looks like the
Game
Trend
Save
Twins.
Superstore in downtown Kelowna.
Does
In
look sick,
previous
though.
games, a space like this was limited to 3 shadow casters in view. With megalights, we now have hundreds of light sources, all casting shadows at 60 frames per second on Xbox Series X.
I don't think so, not yet.
This TV display wall utilizes animated area lights with light functions that are driven by the video itself fully on the GPU.
That's sick.
They each cast eerie and unsettling dynamic shadows with soft penumbra across the scene.
Penumbra? I don't know what that word
The
means.
Pay and Save is a great example of how we've created environments with geometry collection destructible assets like this tiled pillar. These dynamic objects cast and receive light correctly, so destruction stays visually grounded exactly the way you'd expect in the real world. Let's check out the freezer section. All these freezers have multiple area lights inside them to simulate that realistic lighting effect of the frozen food section of your local grocery store. During combat, bullets create a dynamic shatter point in the glass.
So I suppose
With
they're just trying to
shatters,
say they've
all the pieces collide with the environment, using hardware
improves the graphics and performance.
Translucent reflection. It's amazing to see how many light sources there are in here. There are hundreds of them.
Oh damn.
The small lights on Marcus's armor.
Oh, that run on 1
spotlight
FPS.
On the ceiling. There is no way we'd ever be able to achieve this effect or have this many ray-traced area lights on current generation hardware without megalights.
Okay, so we've got a new light system then.
A staple of the Gears franchise, E-holes are back in Gears of War E-Day. So let's open some up.
Or we will get one in UE6.
Without all the monsters in the way, you can see all the volumetrics and smoke lit perfectly. One of the things we're super excited about that was unthinkable in the past is having shadows on every single one of our muzzle flashes.
The demo looks like it's laggy.
This is a really great improvement that adds to the dynamic combat of Gears with a more
I'm on
believable
only
fire
30
experience
FPS on
that
the
puts you
stream,
right
so it could
in
be
the middle of
that.
the action like never before.
I mean, you'd assume they're on the highest hardware possible as well, so it's probably like a work in progress.
Our game isn't limited to just a single space. We can explore the entire city of Kelowna with tens of thousands of shadow casting lights.
I think it is 60
Delivering
FPS
E-Day
though.
with this level of visual fidelity has not been easy.
But my
But we
stream's
can
only
iterate
30
so much
FPS, that's
faster
why.
with hardware ray trace lumen compared to the baked lighting we used in the past.
It does
With
look really
megalights,
beautiful
our lighters
though.
are no longer constrained by the number of real-time shadow casters, giving them the freedom to light our game with the same complexity as the real world. And we have 100 times the geometric detail in our assets due to Nanite's micro-polygon rendering.
How big do you reckon this will be? Like 300 gigabytes?
All of these systems work together to create a highly scalable engine that allows us to consistently deliver a visual showcase across Xbox and PC.
700
As developers,
gigabytes.
many of us know there is a difference between a compelling demo and delivering a fully realized vision at 60
Yeah,
frames per
as
second.
soon as you add enemies to that,
Coalition is pushing Unreal Engine 5
1
and
FPS.
the hardware it runs on to their limits to reimagine the Gears world at an unprecedented level
Oh,
of
that's on
detail.
Unreal 5 anyway, he said.
We can't wait for you to see for yourselves
Do we
when
have
E-Day
that?
launches
UEFN
on October 6th.
Mega Light?
Thank you.
Okay, so the Mega Lights are in 5.7 and 8, but they're not in UEFN.
I lost visual! Anyone see it? Negative! I lost it!
I mean, the monster didn't look very like high fidelity compared to the other ones, but I didn't even know that's coming out so soon.
Hi, I'm Gina, head of tech at Riot on Teamfight Tactics, or TFT as we like to call it. TFT is an auto battler that we originally built as a game mode on the same engine as League of Legends. We built it fast, about 18 weeks from idea to launch, and then it grew way beyond what we expected. TFT has become a leading strategy game with more than 300 million players across the ecosystem, which is kind of wild to stay out loud. We've just announced that TFT is moving to Unreal Engine with our next set, Enchanted Wilds. Rebuilding a live game on a new engine while it's still running is not something most
I thought they was going to do it with League.
It's years of work across engineering, art, design, and production. And that gets even harder when your game is still shipping new sets, events, everything to players on a regular cadence. But that's what we decided to do. I joined Riot to work on TFT, and about 6 weeks in, we made the call to move the game to Unreal. And pretty quickly, we realized this wasn't just about moving engines. It was about what became possible. Building on shared technology, reusing more of what we create, spending less time rebuilding foundations, and more time building TFT. One example is the gameplay ability system. It gives us a more structured and flexible way to build gameplay as the game grows. And for a game like TFT, where every set brings new mechanics, content, and ways to play,
it looks like League of Legends, no?
Matters a lot. It gives us shared building blocks, abilities, attributes,
is it the same world?
That can be reused
you call
across
it like
very different parts
universe?
Of the game. And that lets us move faster over time. With Unreal, we had to rethink how the game was built. Architecture, networking, gameplay, even the way the game data is structured had to change. And early versions of the game in Unreal just didn't feel right. Performance was rough. We had builds running at around 12 frames per second in an 8-player game, which I'm sure all of you can imagine was not exactly the target. So, the first goal for us wasn't innovation. It was parity. We had to get TFT back, and that meant reworking a lot of systems inside Unreal. Some gave us a strong starting point, others required significant customization, and some we rebuilt from scratch. For example, networking. As we built more of the game and added more content, we started to hit limits. With a huge number of gameplay actors in a match, the default replication approach wasn't enough to meet our server and bandwidth performance targets. So, with Epic's help, we evolved our approach, adopting Iris networking with push-based replication and fast arrays to get the performance we needed. The hard part wasn't getting something working, it was making it work at scale. Gameplay was another big one. We leaned heavily into the gameplay ability system. It's powerful and helped us get something up and running quickly, which, as many of you know, matters a lot early on. But TFT has sets, modes, and gameplay content that don't always ship on the same timeline. And pretty quickly, we realized we needed a better way to organize all of it. So we ended up using the Game Features plugin to give that content
I found League so boring.
And a more scalable way to share systems.
I mean, I've only played it like twice. Wasn't my cup of tea.
And then there's mobile. A huge part of TFT is that it runs on a wide range of devices, including low-end mobile hardware. That didn't change just because we moved engines. And while this has been one of the hardest parts of the migration, it's also one of the reasons we made the move. Mobile is a huge part of how people play TFT, including me. So we invested deeply in custom.
You reckon she
rendering,
even plays
memory
it? She's just saying it for
scaling the game
fucking
across
sake of it.
devices, working closely with Epic to get TFT running where we needed it to. But we're still early in that journey. We're already
it's got to be quite
more
hard for all
PC
of these
and
people
mobile
to
than we
be
could
speaking
before,
in front
and there's
of
still a lot
all
more we
these
can do for our mobile players.
this big crowd.
Content migration. I'm guessing a lot of you already know where this is going. TFT has thousands of assets across art, animation, VFX, and audio that had to be migrated. And every type of content broke differently when we brought it over. VFX alone was a massive amount of work. We weren't just converting assets, we were moving between fundamentally different systems. Getting thousands of assets into the engine was one challenge. Getting them back to the quality bar that players expect was another. And we really underestimated how much time this would take. So a huge part of the effort.
I wonder if it was even worth it for them in the end.
Fix, convert, and validate
Maybe they just
all
wanted
that
to be on
content at
Epic
scale.
Games' store
And that's where Unreal's
to get more
extensibility
players.
really mattered.
So maybe it was worth
We could
it.
build the systems we needed to make this possible, because there was no world where we were rebuilding all of that by hand. And we kept running into the same pattern everywhere. Unreal gives you a lot, but getting from Unreal to TFT still took a massive amount of work. we're already seeing the impact of Unreal across TFT. More of the game is built on shared foundations. Mobile and PC share much more of the same UI and underlying systems, and we're able to build on technology and capabilities that exist across Riot. And that's the biggest thing Unreal gave us. Not a feature, leverage. But this move isn't for everyone.
What was they on
for
before
TFT,
then?
This is what will let us move faster, take bigger swings, and keep delivering the experiences players expect. Because for
it's
us,
on Riot's
this is
own
about
engine.
building TFT into a forever game that players can keep coming back to. Players
Yeah,
will get
it
their
was on
first
Riot's
opportunity
own
to play
engine before.
TFT on Unreal in just a few weeks. And honestly, I hope players pick it up and say, yeah, this feels like TFT. Because if we've done our job well,
It's not
they
like
won't
it's
be
a
thinking
demanding
about
game.
the engine at all.
Yeah, they
They'll
obviously were
just be
struggling
playing
somewhere
TFT.
with it because they said they had
Thank you
12
so much, and I
FPS
hope
when
you
they
all have a great
first
Unreal
got it all
Fest.
working. But I think that a lot of people even in Fortnite do that wrong. They don't know how to like optimize things. Obviously they do know how, these people do, but
I'm Tor Freak.
then they'll blame it on the... He's flexing his muscles.
In our first
One of
game,
them looks
The
bigger
Ascent,
than the other
our
one.
small team pushed the out-of-the-box UE4 tech to its limit.
Fuck it,
in
you
a highly
got to
detailed,
try and
lived-in
fucking
cyberpunk world.
mog the crowd.
For our new game, No Law, a high-fidelity, immersive, first-person shooter set in the unregulated city of Port Desire, we knew that our best starting point would be building a game around the core feature set of Unreal 5, because a small team like ours needs to work with the engine, not against it. We realized early on that out of the box wouldn't be enough.
All I'm waiting
We
for
had to
is
push beyond the default
Avatar
with
to
our
come
own
to
workflow
UEFN.
inside UE5 to make the world we wanted. We're proud of what we did with The Ascent, and No Law is the next step in that same approach. Our constraint
the video
was
doesn't look
specific.
1080p.
We didn't want the largest world, but the densest. A city that feels lived in at every scale, where every corner carries history and every surface tells a story. Port Desire is shaped by human clutter, cramped market alleys, layered graffiti, worn stickers, cramped market alleys, layered graffiti, worn stickers on electrical boxes. A story with every frame, from a messy apartment where characters go about their lives to the skyline of the city. As a relatively small team, that ambition came with the real of the city. As a relatively small team, that ambition came with the real challenges. We wanted extreme detail everywhere, but we also needed...
UE has a bad rep because it allows people without optimization knowledge to build massive games easily. Yeah.
For us, the answer wasn't a single system, but a shift in how we built the world. We prioritized density over scale, and we built a pipeline that let artists handcraft spaces without constantly...
I'm not too sure in the like
without relying
normal
on
indie dev scene.
Nanite is what made that approach viable. It lets us keep a high level of detail across surfaces without...
But yeah, the
every asset
Nanite, for
as a
example,
trade-off between fidelity and performance. Our custom implementation...
that's meant to be
fast
already
geo in
optimized, so
combination
people
with
think they don't need to do any light
enables a seamless
optimizations.
experience that never breaks. It allows us to have details in every nook and cranny and tell a million small stories. In fact, we have more objects in any given frame than the entirety of the Ascent. With this workflow, we can preserve detail and density in every corner, from the smallest bolt on a freighter to the city as a whole, with no invisible walls and no loading. We build tools inside Unreal to help our artists handcraft the entire city, alley by alley.
What is this
building by
game? I didn't
building,
hear him say actually.
block
But it looks
by block.
pretty good.
To show Port Desire's full range as an urban city,
Port
overrun with
Desire?
vegetation, we needed dynamic
Okay.
lighting. From the coastal
Fuck
lush
is that,
midday
though?
sun to the darkest, the most dangerous alleys, where even the bright neon light does not reach. The challenge was maintaining a fully dynamic day, night, and weather system without unpredictable frame times. Lumen gives the foundation for fully dynamic lighting, and mega
No
lights
law.
that are already focused on the believability of the space instead of tuning every single light source. Every believable space needs dozens or hundreds of individual light sources. From the smallest blinking electronic warning light on a camera to the large neon signs above a marketplace. Mega lights allow us to retain the visual fidelity bar we're aiming for while keeping performance considerations low.
They're all using mega lights.
Once everything
I
is
wonder when we
dynamic,
get mega
it
lights.
starts to affect the gameplay in more direct ways. Players can shoot out a street lamp, flood a space with a flashlight, or they can leave an area in darkness and have the AI NPCs react to light and shadow, shying away from glare, searching through darkness, or escalating when something feels off.
Let's see who's got the bigger gun, motherfucker!
To make the city feel alive, we leaned on the mass framework to drive our crowds. NPC density and types shift based on time of day, region, and weather. In the slums, a storm clears the streets, but in the more sinful parts of Port Desire, even heavy rain won't slow things down. Mass lets us simulate thousands of characters at once, over 3,000 at any given time, which is also more than the entirety of the Ascent. So the city always feels active, no matter where you are. We're also using MetaHuman.
Man, I need to play
with our own
Cyberpunk.
character animation system. Together with MetaHuman Animator, we can generate and bring to life thousands and thousands of variations of characters, so that the main characters and the extras in the background are all unique. We wanted a world that reacted systemically to the player, without us having to hand-place effects and destruction. Filling a world of this density and scale with contextual effects while maintaining performance and interactivity was one of our key challenges. By combining PCG and Niagara data channels, environmental effects are procedurally populated where appropriate. Wherever artist plays trash or leaves, particles will spawn dynamically based on wind, weather, and player actions. Shoot a bullet, or throw a grenade, and particles.
I bet it costs like 500 gigabytes though.
We combined chaos physics and their own GPU-driven solution to support tens of thousands of moving objects simultaneously. The result is a reactive environment where smoke lingers, embers drift, and broken glass stays where it fell. Creating NOLA has been the process of finding where the engine ends and our custom tools begin. Achieving this level of density, light and complexity, and systemic reactivity was previously impossible for a studio of our size. By leveraging UE5's latest tech to bypass traditional development bottlenecks, we have finally been able to build the uncompromised version of the world we wanted to create for years. We can't wait for you to experience it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
What's up,
I lead
girl?
the Fortnite developer relations team here at Epic.
Hey,
and I'm here to
Fortnite.
talk with you about what's
That's why I'm
happening
here.
in the Fortnite ecosystem.
Tell me about Fortnite.
Every one of the games on the screen behind me was built by an independent developer. Small teams, sometimes just 2 or 3 people using UEFN, published into an ecosystem.
Didn't Spino Survival scam people their level
For those of
designer
you who have
though?
been with
Oh,
us
blinds
in
maps on here.
UEFN,
Nice.
Some since day one. Thank
And this
you.
golf
Your
game.
feedback has really
that
helped
was in
shape the
Epic
tools,
Picks.
and your creativity has shifted how more than 75 million monthly active users experience Fortnite. Your games are a growing share of Fortnite playtime. In May, we saw them capture 47%
I'm gonna go message blind.
of all player hours, up from
Congrats.
just 38% a year ago. And with over $1 billion now paid out to developers since the launch of UEFN, these teams are building businesses here through engagement payouts and, as of January, in-island transactions. It's introduced more ways to monetize. It's opened up new genres and helped developers with smaller
Brain rot,
engaged
bro.
communities thrive.
That's it.
Over 3,000 islands now earn more from in-island transactions than engagement payouts.
That's not a good
And
thing,
we're
by the way.
continuing to see a growing share of total
That was
payouts
not a
coming
good
from
stat to
in-island
flex.
transactions. It's been a boost for genres outside of Battle Royale and
Especially
shooters,
'cause most
and
of those
these
maps
games
are
now make
scamming.
up over 75% of all in-island transaction revenue. We know it takes trust to build on a platform that's still maturing, and this year, stability and developer effectiveness is our #1 priority. Back in March, we stated our goal to cut iteration times, and we've been making real progress, getting the time it takes to push changes down by an average of 40% or so. That's even higher for larger projects, and we've seen reductions of up to 70%.
I don't
Plus,
think
expanded
there's been
live edit
70%
support makes iteration
reductions,
faster
but
and
hey ho.
more streamlined.
This was a great edit, though. I do think this was awesome.
Gives you a clear view of the changes as you work. The consolidated UI simplifies session controls.
Definitely one of the best things they've done in a while.
Pause the game, letting you explore the edit the scene with a detached camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then works.
Those were good additions. Can't hate.
To drive iteration times down and make UEFN a better tool to build with, release after release. And alongside hardening the tools, we're unlocking more gameplay capabilities. Scene Graph, which is soon to be the foundation of UE6, is maturing quickly in UEFN and giving Fortnite developers far more control and customization than ever before.
I bet there's so many people here that don't give a shit about Fortnite. Like they're just thinking, shut up, I don't want to hear Fortnite.
An initial set of workflows creating custom weapons and animation with Scene Graph. And there's much more on the way, including gameplay attributes, gameplay abilities, and Scene Graph UI.
Oh yeah, they're adding UI. That's so cool.
We're introducing more and more major engine
Scene Graph UI.
Components,
kind of like
so
Roblox.
You can spend more time in UEFN authoring gameplay, and less time configuring it. We're also opening up new types of gameplay with targeted feature sets. Creature-based gameplay tools just shipped with games launching to players.
Creature? They're called sidekicks, lady.
Sidekicks allows developers to tap into the attachment players have already built with their own companions. Developers can now build pet battlers, cozy farming sims, and more.
Isn't most of this not possible at the moment because the animations are bugged?
Fortnite is back on Google Play and the App Store worldwide, and mobile playtime for UEFN games has more than doubled in the past year.
Good shit.
We know that optimizing for mobile hasn't been easy.
Do you know what? That's probably all because it's still the brain rot, though. The doubled playtime. Because that's a mobile type game.
And finer control of your HUD can help you build more mobile-friendly games. These mobile features will exit experimental mode in August, enabling experiences and genres that feel more at home on mobile.
Okay.
Our recent Discover changes are already showing results.
She laughed when she said that. She's like,
duplicate content.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Clear genres and personalized Discover to help your games find audiences faster.
This is, I don't think,
we're
true.
We're going to be doing a full redesign. Video everywhere, personalization across every row.
Okay, I'm down for it.
Like percentage right on the title.
So, trailers are going to be way more important in the future then.
As the first thing that players see when they open Fortnite.
That's a good ad.
We'll be diving deeper into the Discover roadmap and the rest of UEFN.
I think they are going to be cooking, to be honest. Wait, what? Next few days.
Our IP partner program enables any Fortnite developer
to
build with officially
Where is Avatar?
Major IP.
You said it last year.
Star Wars, Squid Game, and more. Each partnership unlocks exclusive characters, environments, and templates that developers can use to create games they can't build anywhere else.
It's cool. I agree.
One of the OG UEFN developers, Future Trash, has successfully brought their FOD IP to Fortnite and launched a hit game set in a galaxy far, far away.
I think Boom Tycoon was the best thing FOD have released, personally. I forgot his name actually, but I remember watching him on Immature stream.
Co-founder and CEO of Future Trash, the game studio behind FOD. In 2022, my co-founders, Nate, Scott, Eric, and I, quit our jobs and we wanted to build the next great party game. We were betting everything on an indie studio with one idea and a lot of passion. We learned fast how brutal that road is. Back-end infrastructure, discoverability, distribution. The walls were everywhere. By early 2023,
I think that's something that people don't give UEFN enough love for. You get like all the servers, everything for you already made.
That's when UEFN got announced, and we thought, why don't we bring our game into Fortnite? We weren't native to UGC, so it felt incredibly risky. After some experimentation with the tools and learning more about the blossoming creator economy, we could see the potential. We rolled up our sleeves and shipped our first game in under 3 weeks. We hit publish and got player feedback almost instantly. And that's when it settled in. This was going to be our path forward. And that bold pivot didn't just save our company, it changed our perspective on the future of the games industry. What UEFN gave us wasn't just a platform, it was direct access to our audience. No gatekeepers, no publisher approval. You just have an idea, you build it, and players play it. We've now reached a scale of players we genuinely never thought would be possible as a small studio. From a MOBA that didn't quite land with the Fortnite audience to our first breakout hit, Boom Tycoon, we had the opportunity to experiment with a wide range of genres.
I didn't know that the stream was really
right
quiet.
Our creative sensibilities on the platform. And as a studio obsessed with world building, character-driven experiences, and building original IP,
in your map is your barrier for
UEFN
preventing
became our
them
creative
skipping
sandbox
levels.
and our distribution
It's
layer
to
at the
stop
same
them
time.
from going forward, yeah.
Star Wars has always been a creative inspiration to everyone on our team since childhood. None of us ever dreamt that we'd be able to craft our own game using the iconic IP with essentially total creative control. The droids of Star Wars, they do the hardest work, they survive the worst odds, and they get the least amount of credit. And we thought, let's make a game about them.
Wait, did Fode make
Droid Tycoon was our love letter to these unsung heroes of the Star Wars universe.
I forgot they even made that.
It's hard to believe that this game could have existed anywhere else. And that's how we see the future of how legacy IP will embrace UGC native creators to foster an infinite extension of their content universe. That's where the most exciting stories are going to be told.
For some reason,
And
I
you all
thought
showed
they
up to
made
prove
Boom
it.
Tycoon.
Since we launched the map, Droid Tycoon became the most played
Nice.
UEFN game in Fortnite by hours. It climbed to the second most played game across all of Fortnite in its first weekend. And earlier this month, it set a new record for the highest number of concurrent players over a 2-hour period, which is the strongest performance ever achieved by an IP experience in Fortnite. Looking ahead,
When they go
our
back, do they
ambitions are
respawn?
to continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible on
No,
the
unless they
platform
die,
in
but
terms
you
of visual
can change
quality
that in the
and
code if you
storytelling.
want.
We will
I'm sure it
continue
won't be
building
that
our own
hard.
original IP while also making immersive experiences for the franchises that inspire us most. Thank you.
W's in the chat for Kevin. You the next Fortnite guy? What's up? Ray Gresco.
Thanks, Kevin, for sharing your story and creative process, and especially for bringing the Star Wars IP to life in Droid Tycoon in a way that has connected so deeply with fans.
Disney, okay.
Droid Tycoon is a
getting a Disney
standout
collab?
representative
A new one?
of some of the big highlights we had this year in Disney and Fortnite. Let's take a look.
Alright. Didn't we have Demon Hunters? Or was that not Disney? Okay, we had these guys. Oh, we had quite a lot of Disney shit this year, actually, haven't we? Fucking hell. Some of these trailers make Fortnite look way better than it is, though.
To infinity and beyond!
Okay, what we getting? A Simpsons UEFN? We're gonna get a Simpsons collab?
Food from the sky!
Or is it just because the Simpsons season?
This partnership is anchored in one conviction. Disney stories should reach fans where they already are, and that's increasingly in
Makes
games.
sense. Yeah.
And it
it's
extends
logical.
beyond Epic and Disney. Developers,
I don't
you're
like
in this
Disney,
too.
but
With the agency to build
Fuck
your
it,
own
whatever.
experiences and tell your own stories using the IP that you know and love.
okay.
Early in my game dev career, my dream was to make games in the Star Wars universe. I was fortunate enough to be able to do that, and it's been a great full circle moment for me personally to see developers experience the thrill of making their own Star Wars games for the first time. What's happened since we launched this IP program has exceeded everything we expected. Star Wars came to UEFN and developers ran with it. Galactic Siege, Escape Vader, Droid Tycoon, all built with tools available to everyone in this room. 8 million players in 72 hours overall.
Yeah,
Galactic Siege had 6.5 million players, and Escape Vader had 3.4 million plays. And 6.5 million players, and Escape Vader had 3.4 million plays in just the first 6 days. And Droid Tycoon became the number 2 most played island in Fortnite within a week.
Yeah,
all of us at Disney want to congratulate and thank Beyond Creative and Jogo for their contributions on their exemplar island launches, along with Droid Tycoon.
What about everyone else?
In The Mandalorian and Grogu Watch Party Island, fans were able to watch the first 10 minutes of the film before
they
it ever
only care
hit
about
theaters.
the top 3 maps.
This is a new model for what studio IP
all.
and the creative pipeline can look like, going beyond IP access and toward creative continuity and immersion in worlds that feel real. Star Wars, though, was just one chapter in a year where games meaningfully extended our storytelling. As Percy Jackson returned to Disney Plus for Season 2,
yeah, I still don't get
Siege
why
of
they made
Monsters,
a fucking Jack
created by
Sparrow
our
the
friends at
platypus,
Gauntlet, offered a new way to experience that
Or
world.
it's just got a fucking
While our own
8-pack
Disneyland Game
out of
Rush
nowhere.
translated the energy from Anaheim and Disneyland's 70th anniversary into
I'm obviously
playable
just
form.
jealous.
And our
That's why I'm
Disney,
hating.
Pixar, Lucasfilm, 20th Century, and Marvel outfit collabs continue to remain amongst the most popular in Fortnite. That goes beyond a traditional IP arrangement. It's iconic Disney stories in the hands of more creatives, reaching more fans than ever. And we can't forget our favorite animated family from Springfield,
Simpsons, okay.
who had one crazy
Are they gonna get an
month-long
IP or
season
not?
last
All I
year.
want is Avatar, but
This
I'll
season
accept Simpsons,
had
I
over
guess.
80 million unique players, with over 750 million hours played. The reach speaks for itself. We were so excited to see players come into Springfield, but we've also loved watching citizens of Springfield cross over into parts of UEFN. Let's take a look at some highlights from one of our favorite streamers.
Why did you say
Hey
it
everybody,
like that?
welcome to my channel.
Oh, what the
Bart-ass
fuck?
reacts to an idiot playing Fortnite. Here's how Homer gets us to school every day. The fat is strong with this one. Hey, look, it's Jurassic Park.
I was not expecting.
Here's Dad having a meeting with my teacher, Mrs. Krabappel. Here we go, the titanic battle between two old men with breathing problems. Okay, dinosaurs and stormtroopers are tough for Dad, but when he's on his home turf in his Springfield island, he'll probably just choke on his own donut.
Oh, okay,
can.
there we go. We got a Simpsons collab. Crazy. I want Avatar though, not Simpsons, but fuck it.
36
people are
years
gonna cook
in,
then.
the Simpsons still feel like everyone's family. But today, they're finding a new home.
So is this getting released today?
We
or
are
what?
so excited to announce The Simpsons is joining the IP partner program later this year.
Later this year, okay.
Springfield will be yours. Characters, locations, radioactive waste, all UEFN ready. But hey.
Okay.
be
All
kind
it's
to
going to
Flanders.
be is like 5 roguelikes.
But based on what we've seen, Springfield's in good hands.
That'll be a good tycoon
Thank
as well,
you
I guess.
to all the amazing developers in this community. We look forward to seeing what you create next. Now back to Epic.
Give me my Avatar. Okay, on May 24th, you got
From the
Glimpse.
first time we went supersonic to right here,
So we got Sonic
right
as well.
now, it's fitting that at the largest celebration of our game, in front of the greatest fans in the world,
What is
we
this, Sonic?
celebrate that history.
Sonic collab as
To
well.
all of our friends here in Paris and those watching all around the world, this is the future, and this is...
Should I know who he is? Rocket League update, okay. Yeah, Rocket League's in UE6, right? Let's take a look at it then. Catch it real time. I know it's just graphical improvements and performance. The lighting is kind of crazy. I wonder if this will still run on the Switch. they already released this. Well, it's coming to Fortnite. It just said Verse, right? Oh no, UE6 is Verse, right? Yeah, UE6. Okay. Is it Mr. Tim Cheese? What's up, Tim Cheese?
All right, at the Rocket League competitive series in Paris, we gave the world the first glimpse of Unreal Engine 6. And this is the next step in our mission, to make great games and tools and to share them with you so you can bring your ideas to life. And I'm here to talk to you about what we're building now for the future. Today, things are kind of awkward. There's actually two different ways to build stuff in Unreal. There's building Unreal Engine 5 games for standalone distribution on stores with massive AAA features. And then there's the Unreal Editor for Fortnite feature set and tool set that enables you to build a game once and then deploy it to all platforms live into Fortnite with its 80 million monthly active users. Now, each of them has some really cool, unique features, but is lacking the features of the other one. And so our big initiative to bring them together is the core of the Unreal Engine 6 effort. It's UE5 plus UEFN equals UE6 plus some more cool stuff on the way. The vision is that if you build things once the Unreal Engine 6 way, then you can have a game that you can ship everywhere, including the console stores, the PC stores, the mobile stores, and also ship live into the Fortnite ecosystem or any other Unreal Engine 6-based game ecosystem built by any other developer. Now, in prior generations, we put graphics first in leading and announcing our technology. But with the Unreal Engine 6 generation, we're focusing first and foremost on the foundations of the engine to prepare for the next generation of game development and for gaming. And the most critical change here is the move to the Verse programming language for gameplay development alongside the low-level C++ engine. And the reason for this is to enable massive scale code and content interoperability across games. Today we have a lot of content interoperability features. You go to the Fab content marketplace, you download a bunch of cool objects, you stick in your game, but then you have to wire them up and make it work yourself. In the Unreal Engine 6 generation, by having a unified set of APIs and a unified language that works everywhere, you'll be able to build smart assets that are completely portable between games and between projects and can be shared at any scale, with the potential to have millions of developers collaborating together on a shared body of work that anybody can use. Another hallmark aim for the Unreal Engine 6 generation is to enable far larger game simulations. The original Battle Royale movie in 1999 that inspired the Battle Royale genre of games, fortunately, just happened to have 100 people dropping onto an island. It's a nice coincidence because that's actually the maximum number of players our code base could support running on a single thread on a server. If they had 1,000 players, we wouldn't have been able to do it. The goal of Unreal Engine 6 is to introduce software and transactional memory technology, which Curtis Schmidt will talk more about later, in order to enable
is this the guy that got me
scaling of games to any amount of computers that can fit into a data center. Hundreds, thousands, potentially even millions in the future. And this is technology that's in the research lab, and the team is working very rapidly to make into a practical shipping system.
I think Tim's a cool guy.
Another major aim of Unreal Engine 6 is something I first talked about at the SIGGRAPH computer graphics show back in 2016. There I talked about a potential future of gaming as an open system like the web is open, in which any developer can run a server, build a game, host their own content, and the user can go anywhere they want, from place to place, bringing all of their stuff with them, and tearing down the walls and barriers that exist between games to have a completely interoperable ecosystem. And the Rocket League preview of Unreal Engine 6, if you looked at the very last frame of it, there was a little URL bar on top. The URL was verse://rocketleague.com. And we're tantalizingly close now to fully realizing this idea of an open gaming ecosystem with the ability to travel from game to game and independent developer freedom to build everything they want everywhere they go. And our aim at Epic is to work with all developers in the industry to build this system together as peers. We want a system with no overlord. We've been spending some time fighting against overlords in the industry with some amount of success. And we don't want to be the next one. Rather, we want to be a partner to every company in the industry.
He didn't want to
all
pay
game developers
Apple
and also
and
other
Google pay
makers of technology and
Google
services
money,
in order
basically.
to build the best stuff and connect it all up together. And so a huge part of this effort is going to be Epic adopting open standards like the Pixar USD file format, and GLTF, and also working with standards bodies and releasing specifications to bring new standards into the industry where they're lacking and needed. I'll be talking more about that later, but right now I'd like to introduce Marcus Wasmer to talk about the architecture of Unreal Engine 6. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Tim. So let's just take a second look at the recent history of Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine 4 opened the engine to everyone by making the tools free to use and the source accessible on GitHub. And UE5 reinvented how worlds are built, helping you go bigger, add density and dynamic detail, and do it faster than ever before. UE6 has a different proposition. It's about evolving how we ship and operate our games. That said, UE6 will keep doing the things you want an Unreal Engine to do. Rendering will keep getting better, cook times will come down, iteration loops are getting tighter, mobile is increasingly capable. However, we believe for UE6 that there are three things about game development that need to change at the same time. First, gameplay programming needs to get simpler for creating persistent, live, large-scale worlds. And Verse is the foundation for Epic's future programming model. It's a next-generation language purpose-built to power massive, persistent game worlds at scale, where global state just works and transactionally correct concurrency is handled by the runtime. We've built a modern high-level gameplay framework on top of Verse that gives you a true foundation to build games and experiences easily and to share their interoperable components between games. You'll hear more about our goals and architecture for this programming model from our technical director on the project in a few minutes. But for now, let's talk about the second guiding principle of UE6. Content and code should be portable across games and even engines.
Graph, right?
Our goal is to give the games industry a whole new way to grow our ecosystems with cross-promotion, portable player value, and to really lean into all the positive sum dynamics that Metcalfe's law predicts for connecting experiences and social graphs together. And we're going to do this with a determined effort to move UE beyond just extensibility and into open specifications for interoperability. Where existing standards such as GLTF or USD are capable of fulfilling our needs, we'll make them first-class formats within the engine. And where a standard doesn't yet exist that serves the needs of game ecosystems, we'll open up Unreal's own systems as open specifications with Verse APIs, defined asset conditions, and documentation that any engine, tool, or studio can implement against. And Fortnite Cosmetics will be our first real proof point of portability. Okay. We're going to start by moving the base system to an open UE6 module that's usable by all games. And this means that you'll have the option to use the player's entitled Fortnite outfits in your own games, and you'll get the tools to build outfits for your own games that work inside Fortnite. And we're tackling this problem first because we want to prove things out with a system that's complex enough to be a meaningful existence proof of the idea, and one that inherently comes with a ton of player value by respecting their purchases across an interconnected ecosystem of games. We see this as the first step towards building a shared economy for smart assets. Functional assets with logic and functionality that work across games to recognize players' time and spending in a better way. In the end, this isn't really a Fortnite story. It's just about proving that such a mature, complex system can work at scale, and that every game that works with these systems will immediately benefit from them. Happily, we're taking the first concrete steps to such an open e-system right now. MetaHuman has been adopted by some of the most successful games in the world and is rapidly becoming a standard for digital characters. And that's why today we're announcing the MetaHuman Dev Kit, opening up our rig logic and MetaHuman DNA toolsets under the MIT license so that you can deliver metahumans in any game, any engine, any platform.
That's pretty cool.
To learn more, thank you.
I was thinking he was going to say they're going to add metahumans to Fortnite.
So to learn more, please come to our talk right after this.
Ourselves in game.
All right, moving on. No tech presentation would obviously be complete without a conversation about AI. So to get one of the fun talking points out of the way, there's some speculation going around that game engines will be superseded by promptable world models.
Is this going to be
and
more
we don't
MCP
actually think that's what
stuff?
happened next. What does, we think, is much more interesting. That AI-assisted game creation will tighten iteration loops, reduce time-consuming manual setup of levels, character rigs, particle systems, getting bone weights, adjusting lighting, all of the manual work required to translate professional, creative intent into performant and cross-platform games. And crucially, Unreal Engine is uniquely placed to be the efficient, cross-platform, high-fidelity runtime that will remain the substrate on which much of the world's best games run. Thus, for UE6, we see LLMs, Gen AI models, and tools like Claude, Gemini, and so on as playing a central role in building content faster with the creative control that you need. And as you saw earlier, the future of these workflows is a fluent translation layer between natural language intent and your production pipeline. Our goal for UE6 is to greatly reduce the tedious work in authoring content to leave more time
Chris, how did you
for
get
creative
not qualified for
and increase the amount of iterations a
FNCS?
team can make to polish their content.
How is it, Tim? What did Tim
UE6
do?
will ship with these workflows battle-tested against internal development and in UEFN. And while we've mostly been showing and talking about content creation, coding and engineering are important as well. Internally at Epic, we've been doing a lot of investigation to see what works and what doesn't. And we recently opened up pretty broad usage for code generation and AI analysis across our back-end, engine, and game development engineering teams. We've had a lot of great success stories. We've had particular success with people writing custom tools for their own work, fast code indexing tools for helping LLMs deal with large code bases like UE, fast incident response analysis, automated root cause analysis for crashes, automated test generation, and of course the wins you'd expect on back-end service development. But what's interesting is that most of those cases aren't even generating mainline Unreal Engine code yet, though that'll come. So you can expect Unreal Engine 6 to include all the key learnings for using AI for engineering along with content workflows. Okay. So we know you obviously have lots of questions about the transition from UE5 to UE6, so let's talk about that for a second. UE6 converges two threads of development we've been running in parallel. UE5 for high-end standalone game and content development, and Unreal Editor for Fortnite as the live environment where our new programming model is getting battle tested. UE6 will combine these two products into one. As UE5 and UEFN merge into one editor, you will be able to ship traditional games and projects exactly as you do today. You'll be able to ship directly in Fortnite, or ship your own ecosystem and optionally make it compatible with ours. You'll have an easy path from one to the other. Actors and blueprints will be in early versions of UE6. Eventually, these will be deprecated when the new framework is sufficiently mature, and you'll have conversion tools to move projects from one framework to the other. Also, a new UE6 mainstream will be on GitHub later today, publicly visible, just like the UE5 stream has always been. Any remaining UE5 changes will merge to UE6 to not get lost, but not vice versa. And in addition, Fortnite development will be attached to the UE6 stream, so you can see all of our ongoing work live and cherry pick any changes as needed. However, this stream is not meant to be any kind of alpha. It exists just to be transparent with where we're going. And while we're not currently planning another official UE5 release after 5.8, we do reserve the right to ship a 5.9 if needed. You never know. So when can you get your hands on UE6? We plan to release in early access at the end of 2027-ish.
At the end?
We know how game dev works around here.
2028 then, 2029.
However, Epic will be shipping things on the tech stack ahead of the early access release, just to make sure we get it right. 6.0 will be released 12 to 18 months following the early access release, and we expect just about everyone should be able to move their projects to 6.0, as it will still have all of the mainline UE5 tech, except for Cascade, where we're killing that one. That one's not going to make it. So get on the Niagara train. That said, we will be taking the opportunity to make some big architectural and other breaking changes that we wouldn't normally do in a point release, so you can expect a similar upgrade path from UE5 to 6 as we had for 4 to 5. We'll keep everyone up to date on our progress as development continues, and now Curtis is going to come up and give us a more detailed breakdown of the gameplay architecture. Thank you.
I'm curious when UEFN gets the MCP. If only right now. It released on Unreal Engine 5.8 today.
Thanks, Marcus, and good morning, everyone. I'm Curtis. I work on the gameplay architecture in Unreal Engine, and today I'm excited to talk to you about the new gameplay framework for UE6, which begins with Verse. Now, Verse is a next-generation programming language, purpose-built to power massive, persistent game worlds at scale. We originally released it 3 years ago in UEFN, where we could grow it to become the foundation for UE6. And Verse draws ideas from functional, logic, and imperative languages, and it should feel immediately familiar to anyone who's worked in languages like C# or Python before.
So it's going to
but it also has some unique features aimed at solving the complexity and scaling problems of modern game development, starting with this unique software transactional memory model, or STM. Now, all functions in Verse run as part of atomic transactions, which can be rolled back and re-simulated as needed. And this lets us do a lot of interesting things in our game's code. So for example, to check if an object can be successfully moved in the world, we can simply set its position, then do our spatial queries to see if it's hitting anything. If it is, we abandon the entire transaction, reverting the entire operation, and pretending the code never ran at all. Now, Verse's transactional memory model can also help us address another big problem in game development, building enormous worlds with larger player counts. And today, one of the big limiters to really building larger games comes down to server technology. Scaling a game to run on multiple game servers requires a fundamental rethinking of your entire game's architecture. Well, with UE6, we're working to build a full distributed software transactional memory system to address this.
All the
so here's the idea. We take your existing single-threaded style Verse game code, and then we distribute it across multiple servers. When an object's needed in one server, the Verse runtime rolls back the current transaction, migrates the object over to the server, and then reruns the transaction with the object now present. And this is all done in a way that retains the transactional consistency of the original program. And finally, with Verse, we wanted to make saving game data way simpler. So the Verse runtime can automatically synchronize and save any global state for the program, and then share it across all running instances of your game or an ecosystem. And to the programmer, what this means is that setting up something like save state for a player is as simple as setting a single global map of player to save state. No more having to set up databases or coordinate schemas between your game and other backend services. You can do all of this without ever leaving Verse. Now let's take a look at how Verse fits into the bigger UE6 gameplay architecture. So at the foundational level, we have the Verse runtime, along with all the UE systems that exist today, like rendering, chaos physics, meta sounds. With Verse, we're also introducing the Verse scene graph framework. This is a modern game component framework with full support for prefab-style workflows and runtime composition.
Animations in
the scene graph has been designed to utilize all the power of the Verse language, including modeling the entire prefab data model through Verse's type system. Above this, every core system in the engine is exposed as concrete Verse objects. Each material, mesh, Niagara system that you author becomes a type of Verse class with a statically validatable API. This lets us use the Verse compiler to validate all of our data in a unified manner across the entire engine. For example, if you change a parameter in a particle system, you'll immediately know where in code needs to be updated to match. And finally, we'll be introducing high-level frameworks for common game systems like characters, weapons, and vehicles.
Yeah, they did that.
Now, building with these frameworks helps speed up development, but it also creates content that can be shared widely across games and ecosystems. So imagine grabbing a car from Fab, and instead of simply getting a skeletal mesh and some animations like you might today, you get a fully working Verse module for a car that functions across all of your games.
But then won't all the games
With the UE6 gameplay framework, we're envisioning a world where enormous amounts of code and content is being built and shared between these projects, with Verse providing strong backwards compatibility guarantees to help the ecosystem grow sustainably. Of course, we'll need a place to store all this code and data, and here to talk about that is Matthias.
Don't they use Amazon servers? No?
Thank you, Curtis. I'm Matthias Jansson. I work on developer tools, and I'm here to talk about our version control system, Lore. As we continue to scale our platforms and services, we run into many challenges when it comes to data storage and version control. We need something that can handle large binary data sets, scale easily across the globe and provide secure data isolation in a shared multi-tenant environment. We also need to make it easy to use for everyone, not just programmers. We looked at the available tools and came to the conclusion that none had everything we needed. Git, for example, it's excellent at what it was built for, distributed development of source code. But game development has huge amounts of binary data and content, and rarely needs everything on your local machine. Git doesn't really work well under such requirements. Other commercial and proprietary systems were also considered. But our foundational tools have to be open. Open specifications, open protocols, open formats. Anything less, and the people relying on them can't extend, audit, or trust them. So we decided to build Lore from scratch, and we designed the data model to meet our requirements from the ground up. We made scalability and performance core tenets from day one, and this is where most of Lore's technical innovation lives. It combines an efficient large asset handling with a free branching model, so teams can iterate quickly without sacrificing workflow flexibility or storage efficiency. And Lore will grow with you from a zero-config single service setup for small teams,
I wonder, will this be
all the way to multi-region, multi-million user deployments like UEFN, without requiring your team to fundamentally change how you work. At the heart of Lore is an efficient, content-addressed data store. Every file, every directory, every revision is identified by what it contains, not where it lives. Identical pieces of data are only stored once. Lore gives you direct access to that storage platform, so you can build your own applications and pipelines on top of it. Lore's version control uses this storage platform to let you work on multiple things in parallel, switch between them freely, and collaborate in safe, isolated spaces without worrying about how it scales. Lore's sparse, binary-first storage architecture fetches only the data you actually need for the revisions and branches you work with, supporting projects of any size. Large binary data is stored in smaller fragments, allowing partial deduplication and highly efficient parallelized data transfer of any file. That same data model is what lets Lore scale out across the infrastructure. As you grow, Lore lets you transparently add layers of additional servers from the local machine out through edge and regional caches and up to a durable global store. And because access is authenticated and authorized at every layer, that scale never comes at the cost of control. Every server enforces the same access policies. For a globally distributed team, that means that users in different regions can hit their nearest cache, and the global source of truth is never the bottleneck. Everything Lore does, data storage, version control, is exposed through a single complete API. And on top of that API, we built the tools you would expect. A command line interface, a desktop application, and in the near future, an integration in Unreal Editor. And these tools are all built on the same API and library.
Soon, if we
this
want it
API-first design makes Lore easy to extend and integrate into any development pipeline. Your tools and applications can easily use Lore through the API in the language you want to use. Though we're just scratching the surface here, I hope this gives you a sense of the power and potential of Lore. And it's already used in production environments. It powers the UEFN ecosystem, where it's been known until now as Unreal Revision Control, providing version control and data storage for everyone's content pipeline. We have already started transitioning to use Lore as the primary version control system for development within Epic, and we plan to be fully using Lore by the UE6 launch. We built Lore to address scalability and efficiency challenges we have at Epic. And as we talked with many of you, we heard similar challenges echoed across the industry. And that led to a bigger realization. If we're trying to foster a truly open ecosystem, one we all build together, then a system shape behind closed doors would fall short. And that's why we're announcing Lore as open source today. All the source code. Thank you. All the source code, along with documentation of data formats and protocols, are now permissively licensed under an MIT license and free to use. This release shouldn't be viewed as a perfect or complete package, but as an invitation to you to extend it, challenge it, and help shape it into something even more powerful together. So, if you're interested in learning more, head to lore.org and come to my session later in the show for a deep dive discussion on Lore's architecture. And with that, I will hand it back to Tim.
Welcome back, Tim Cheese. Tell us we're getting Avatar.
Awesome. So that is the first two of our next generation permissively licensed open source releases, and the first of many to come as we go about building more and more standards for interoperability for the future of gaming. And now I'd like to go and talk about the game business, which is in a time of both crisis and also opportunity. On the upside, there's a new generation of gamers coming in with new tastes in games, and they're playing games at a higher rate than any previous generation before. And the biggest games, like Fortnite, are once again growing and thriving. But underneath this, there's a serious challenge to AAA developers, and that's that a huge number of the new releases of major games are failing now.
They've all been flopping, yeah, because they're all
We're seeing often hundreds of millions of dollars of dev cost, followed by tens of millions of dollars of revenue, and the dev costs are continuing to grow. It feels to many like a tidal wave is sweeping over the AAA game business. I'd like to back up, and everybody has their theory for why this is happening, but I'd like to back up and identify kind of the key generational changes and trends that are behind this. And because if we want to come up with an honest solution, we have to accurately identify the problem. And one of the key trends is that gaming is increasingly becoming socially driven. In the old days, it was you decide to play a game, you download it, you may play it by yourself, or maybe play multiplayer with whatever strangers show up. Nowadays, it's much more about you getting together with your friends and then deciding what to do together online to play a game or experience. And this
his reasoning here is probably why they changed the
gaming is
discovery to include
creating
invites.
A massive advantage for big games and big ecosystems because a game with a lot of players is much more likely to contain a lot of your friends, and a long-established game with a huge player base has a much easier job of retaining players than a new game has of attracting new players. Thus, we've seen a lot of the major new multiplayer games not gain a sufficient community and momentum to survive, though in the past they might have. The other big change that's affecting gaming is that the economy is shifting from buying games to buying things in games. And whether you're a fan of this or not, the arithmetic of it is undeniable. And this is another thing that reinforces the success of very large existing ecosystems in games and makes it ever harder for new entrants to get in. And that is if you've been playing a game for a long time and it has a huge player base, then you can buy with confidence knowing that the things you purchase will still be useful to you days, weeks, or years later. Whereas when a new game comes out, it's a much more difficult decision to spend. You're not sure if you're going to play it next day, next week, next month, and are much less likely to spend.
Where's this going?
And the final trend that's affecting gaming is that the market for players' attention has become extraordinarily competitive, more so than I've ever seen before in my lifetime when we were competing with lame television and other things that trend almost into vice.
You just teleport.
All competing for people's times, all very effectively.
What the fuck, Tim Cheese?
And so to overcome these trends, the game industry, whether we like it or not, is reorganizing itself. And there are kind of two big predictions for the future as these problems reverberate throughout the industry. One view of the future is that Roblox grows and eats gaming. A lot of people are saying this online. But what you have there is a centralized platform with a single gatekeeper that commoditizes all content, takes more than 70% of revenue, and has 450 million users on board. And so that's a real challenge to game developers. But we believe in a very different future, and a much brighter one for the people in this room, and that is that a future of high-quality gaming rising to the challenge and linking up our content, linking up our communities, and linking up our economies to deliver fun and to serve gamers with great games in a way we've never done before. And to accomplish that, we're going to all need to change the way we build things. We're going to need to build better games. We're going to need to build them more efficiently. And we're going to need to design up front and build for connected games, where all of our player bases are connected socially and our economies are connected, so that players, instead of seeing these as isolated products, see them as part of a global ecosystem that all game developers participate in together. We want to work with all of you and with all of the game developers in the industry to achieve this together. The things we built with Unreal Engine 6 are our technological foundation for it. And we believe that this is a big challenge that we all have to rise to. We need to win the competition for players' time, not only against other games, but also against YouTube and TikTok and everything else that people are doing online. And this was very much on our minds when we set out about building Unreal Engine 6. And it's also what was on the minds of really close partners like Disney and Lego and other AAA game developers when we've been building increasingly close partnerships to them to build this together. It's very clear, Fortnite, 80 million monthly active users, that's quite a lot, but we realize that this is not enough for Epic to do it alone. To build the ecosystem of the future, we're going to have to build it together. And I think the thesis for that is very optimistic, that between all of us and the world's best games, many of which use Unreal Engine, and many of whose developers use Unreal Engine, and many projects, we have billions of active users. And so we have the opportunity to form up into Team Open and to define the future of gaming together again. And that's exactly what we want to accomplish in this generation together with you. So that's what we're doing. Thank you very much for coming here to Unreal Fest. And remember, where else in the world can Fortnite creators get together with AAA game developers and filmmakers and architects and car designers and people at Lockheed Martin who are designing things they're not even allowed to talk about here, and actually speak the same language, the language of Unreal and content and code and development. So I hope you have a great time and have a great opportunity to meet up with lots of people. Thank you very much.
I was hoping for the Avatar release. I know I said it like 100 times, but they said it last year. We didn't get it. Instead, they're bringing out Simpsons. UEFN Avatar collab reveal. It was in last year's Unreal. I don't know. Either way, that was what I was streaming for today, to be honest. I'm going to go work on my map off stream today. But thank you for watching that with me. I think only I'm here, my girlfriend's here, and Chris is here. But thank you, Chris, girlfriend, and myself. Yeah, fuck it. Thank myself. Have a good one. Bye.